All right, welcome to the first episode of this podcast, whatever it's called. We haven't figured that out yet. But basically, this podcast is going to be about regular people in small towns that make a big difference. And we're going to highlight kind of their achievements, their accomplishments, but also kind of, what their community means to them and what makes them so special. You are special. Do you know that?
He gets told that a lot.
So I'm here with my buddy Brandon Abear, and he's going to introduce our first guest.
That's right. We have with us today Will Sirmon. Some people call the maniac, a former collegiate athlete. He's an agency manager at Farm Bureau. He's a father of 3. He's a husband. He's a community church activist. Will, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And being with us.
I'm very flattered.
You brought some presents for us today, huh? Or some props?
Yeah, and it's part of I guess what I'm gonna talk about today.
Your many hats
That's
you
right.
wear.
Many hats.
Yep, just to fill you in, Will is a father of 3, and Brian and I, as 2 young dads, we always, one of the things we talked about before is having people smarter than you, maybe not in this case, but that have more experience than you to help you along the way. So Will has his youngest daughter in college at Auburn. His 2 sons went to some pretty great schools up north. And we're just here to story of how you made that happen, stemming from your marriage to your career and just all the things you did as a father that got you here. So take us away, Will. Fill us in. Take us on what that journey was like.
So it all started when I married Erin Anderson. Hence the family. Hence the rock that I needed to help me accomplish all the things that we've accomplished. Which, and looking back, I know there was some intentionality with what we were doing, but really, God played a huge part in that. He picked up the slack when I wasn't being the father and the husband that I should have been, and I can see his hand in everything that we did. But I did have some rules of engagement, I guess. Things like high expectations.
Sure.
I had high expectations for them, and they knew that. Practical things like, hey, if it doesn't take a whole lot of talent to hustle. When you're playing athletics, you can always hustle. If you don't, then you don't need to be out there. Some of the things that my dad taught me. If you start something, you're gonna finish it. So that and I was a pretty tough disciplinarian, and I pushed grades above all. Everything else is secondary. You need to be involved, but your grades and your behavior and your attitude and being incredibly polite, they will be all of those things, or we will have issues. And they knew that.
And that's a great kind of broad outlook on everything. I guess what I take us through these hats here, man. Take us through the stages of life, right? Like, so we've got Will Sirmon, married to Erin, but that started off with, what's the next step, right? You get married, okay, now I gotta support a family, I gotta help create a family, right?
Yes.
So you're involved with Farm Bureau as an insurance agent. Take us through those steps of the career early on.
And you're gonna laugh, but like the first person that I had to raise was my wife, because she was 20 years old. She was in college. She couldn't balance a checkbook. I was 27. And so that's kind of where it all began. She was my test dummy. And she passed with flying colors.
That's great. That's great.
Although it was due to her own actions and not mine. So
Let's clarify that.
yeah, there's not a whole lot that I did with that other than love and support her. So I went to Hahnville High School. Then I went to USL or UL as they call it now. I was on a full scholarship, which I was incredibly blessed to do that. I'm not sure that the team feel the same way. I was a father of a son who was a multi-sport athlete at Destrehan. That's my lucky Destrehan hat. And I was the father of a son and a daughter that went to St. Charles Catholic. Both Anderson played football, and Sarah Beth, this is William, and Sarah Beth played soccer and volleyball. Then William signed a full scholarship at the University of Holy Cross in Worcester, Mass. I did forget the Andover step, however, that's trivial. Then he and Anderson both went to Union to play football. Then my little girl played on the crew in New Orleans with a great group of folks there too. And now Sarah Beth is at Auburn, and Anderson has been working for the Saints in the Pels. So that's the journey. So, you guys, I don't envy you, and I envy you, but I don't envy you in some ways because I know you guys are both very involved, and I was too. The Little League thing is so taxing. I mean, it's fun to watch your kids play. It's not fun to deal with
The schedule and yeah, right? Like
Uniforms and the forgotten cleats.
And and some of the parents that think that their kids are the next Tiger Woods. It was very hard to maneuver that, and my dad really he coached me in basketball, but he didn't have a big hand in any of the other stuff. I think because of that reason. I think that he was a coach already, and so through the Little League years, he kind of let me find my own way,
Sure.
which was I think beneficial. Mom was always there. Mom did everything. Mom never missed anything. Mom was my rock. Dad was the one who kept the wheels on the bus going round and round and in the same lane. So then, with having a family and kids and all, we went through the Little League phase and all. We got into and it was a joy watching them play, but we played everything. So I know what you guys are going through. You got two sports overlapping almost at all times. You're running, we were a little spread out, so that kind of delayed Sarah Beth getting into the mix, but we were always going. One way, I'd take one child, she'd take the other one. And we were always, so that, I know that's tough. It's tough to deal with.
We're just starting that, but it's sort of like, now is, they don't really know what they want to do yet. And so I guess that's a question I have for you. How did you know, did your kids just naturally gravitate towards something? Did you just expose them to everything and then they kind of chose their paths? Is that
exactly.
Okay.
We dropped out we started baseball early, and we dropped out of baseball after a while. It's kind of ironic because the one sport that I was not okay with them playing and didn't want them to play early on was Little League football. And that's just, I have a
tackle football.
Tackle football,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Flag is fantastic. But, there's studies and injuries. And I had some friends of mine that played, all the way through the pros, and then some coaches that are still coaching in the pros that coached me. And their view of it was, it's not necessary. Either they got it or they don't.
Yeah.
So, and that was the one sport that both the boys gravitated to and loved the most. Now, William played soccer and ran track, and Anderson played soccer too, but for some reason they couldn't give up the football even after they had I think 7 surgeries between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's a big culture here too,
Yeah.
especially going to Destrehan.
Yes.
St. Charles Catholic, both huge football schools.
Yes.
And just Louisiana in general, I think, is a football culture. So.
Yeah. So then going into my daughter, that's a totally different thing. I actually think that I enjoyed watching her play the most because because she played two sports that I never played, and so I didn't really have any feedback to give her or
That's
anything like that.
interesting for
Yeah, and she was, both of my boys were tenacious, but she was tenacious, and she was a pretty little blonde-headed thing, dark skin, blue eyes, and
so nothing
just
like you.
terrorizing the volleyball court. I mean, she would make plays with her feet, with her head. She'd dive into the stands, and I just was like, man, look at this. If you look at it, you'd be like,
Right.
no way.
So it was soccer and volleyball for
Soccer
her?
and volleyball. And volleyball, she'd just bounce people around like they weren't even there. It was, and she was fast. It was great.
I think it's good because like you don't have those expectations, right? Like,
Exactly.
Like you had a bunch of brothers. Same kind of thing growing up with me, and it's like, you bring your kids to these sports, and like when my son wasn't out there the first day of wrestling practice as a 5-year-old, just bodying kids, I was like, it was like quiet car rides home. I was like, this is terrible, man. Like, what are you doing? You're not living up to the, and
Exactly.
But you have to let that go, right? You have to
Yes.
put them out there, see what they kind of
Yeah.
go to, and then
you bring up a very good point. And then you find a mentor.
right, yeah.
Someone else that's not you.
Someone else that's not you
Yes.
telling your kid what to do. And you tell that mentor, if he is willing to accept the job, that the things that you want your kid to hear from him, because coming from you, they have this
Yeah.
thing in their ear that
Some sort of
does
filter.
this whenever you open your mouth.
Right.
And that was the way that I, especially with Anderson. I mean, he just it just took off, and it was, and I, that I've told you before.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate that, and so does Anderson. It was so find a mentor
Yeah.
Sure.
that can speak to your children. That
Well, I mean, that's community, right? It's
Amen.
It's having
Amen.
It takes a village, a community. You need other people, other influences, good influences in your children's lives to
That's a
kind
great
of form
point.
them up. I guess who were some of those people you mentioned? Brandon. Are there some
mentors,
other people?
like so I know we wanted to talk about who my people were. It was my mom and my dad, and then my brothers became an integral part of that. People that I looked up to, and we have a very close relationship. My wife, of course, and my family.
Close family, big family.
Close family, fairly big family. Now that we got the 3 boys on my side, we have 5, 3, and 3, 11 grandkids. So I have these wonderful nieces and nephews. Really,
Nice.
they're wonderful. And then on Erin's side, she's got 1 brother, and he has 3 daughters. And my in-laws are probably the best in-laws you could ever ask for.
What about like I guess I'm thinking we're all involved in sports. You have your brothers, and sometimes it's not necessarily like like a older, more experienced mentor guy. Sometimes it's someone that's right alongside you. So I guess what I'm asking is, are your brothers, were they kind of that force to either motivate you, or that little bit of competition? Or the guys you played with at USL, you see the way other people are doing their life right alongside you.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than, I guess, feel competitive with that person, you kind of use one another to press up. I mean, anything like that?
So, what comes to mind is, first of all, I always wanted to impress my dad. And so I come from a long line of college athletes. Football, track. My great grandfather played at LSU. I mean, all the way down. My brother played at Northwestern. My kids played, and probably some of my younger brother's kids will play in college too. So there was always that. And when I was coming up, I had 2 uncles. One that was running track and playing football at Southeastern, who was an All-American in high school, and one that was playing football in Hahnville, was like winning a state championship. So I had that. We go to my grandma's house on Saturday morning, and my uncles were there, and they were all beat up, and and then on Sunday morning Saturday night we go watch Louis. So
You're just soaking all that.
I was, and that's really what motivated me, and then my dad was a coach, and then I followed him to everything that I could, and And then as I got into high school, a guy by the name of Steve Crevetta, who was awesome. Everybody loved Coach Crevetta. He has since passed on, and is a big time hit for our community. But great man, kind of steered me through. I think he saw some promise in me and steered me through. Made some decisions for me, like you can't play baseball as a sophomore. And basically, he is the reason why I ended up having being a blue chip and having so many offers and being recruited heavily until we went 2-8, which, by the way, he left before we did to go to college, which I understand that. But he was very instrumental in that, and I would have run through a brick wall for him. I think we probably all have coaches that we would do that for.
Yeah,
he's the guy that that really motivated me. As far as peers, not really. I mean, I went out there and I didn't look around. I went out there and I did what I could do, 110%. And you know, in the weight room, in the off season, and everything. And I played every sport in high school except for baseball and sophomore year. And but that I was always driven, and I don't know that it was. Actually, I do know it wasn't to succeed. It was for me. It was fear of failure. I wanted to be the best because I didn't want anybody to beat me.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's kind of been. I probably need a psychiatrist, but that's probably been the motivating factor for almost everything.
Well, I'll tell you what though, that is, I could argue that that's more important to some people than winning is, right? Like winning's great, but like losing, I'm more afraid of losing than I am happy to win.
Me too.
If that makes sense. And I think as a parent, as a father, that kind of resonates with a lot of things, because it's like, you know, when we bought the gym, it's like, I hope the gym does great. I really hope it does great. But one thing it can't do is fail, because my entire family's on the line here.
Right.
Right. So if it does great, that's wonderful. You know, if you're making a little bit of extra money every year, you're like, well, that's nice. But it would be absolutely devastating if it went bankrupt, right? Like I mean, like that can't happen. So that fear of failure pushes you more than, oh, you know, we made an extra,
right,
you know, a couple $100,000, you know, whatever dollars, you know.
Absolutely. That's always been kind of my thing. I don't want to fail, and I don't want to let anybody down. But when I win, it's like, okay, I'm supposed to win. And like I wasn't one of those guys that jumped around and did you know, first downs and all of that stuff. I wasn't, because you know what? I mean, that's what I trained for. I trained to win. When I lost, I wanted to beat everybody up that I saw. The other team. No, you know what I'm saying. I was angry. But I never acted out or anything on it. I always kept it to myself. But God, that would it burned deep.
Yeah.
And always did.
I think that's a very male thing too. Just that mindset, you know, like especially when you're competitive, it's like you're supposed to win. So when losing is such, like, you remember your losses more than you remember the big wins. Because when you win, it's like, well, yeah, like this is what I've been working towards.
Right. And
you get there, and sometimes it's almost like underwhelming. That you're kind of like,
yeah,
all right, yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
and you're looking for that next challenge or the next, but when a loss hits, man, that stings for a while. It's funny how that.
And when you're super competitive, like me and all my crew is, my whole family. I mean, my dad used to drum us at checkers because he didn't want to lose.
Checkers?
I was like 5, and he's beating the hell out of me.
I don't even know how to play checkers.
Dad. Like if we would go shoot basketball, no mercy, man.
No mercy?
No mercy. Well, my uncles were the same way. They were just no mercy. Like they were not going to let you win.
Well, not just
I
that,
never
but
won anything
like,
in my life that somebody let me win.
That's good though.
Another part of the male psyche we talk about a lot is like, sometimes I'll win in a sport or whatever, and there's different things involved, I guess, with wrestling, but like sometimes you win, but like I didn't win by enough, and that eats me up way more than You know, there's just like the fact that I won or I lost, right? Like oh man, like I won, but that wasn't even close to my best performance.
Right.
And that upsets you just the same. So I want to move from, thinking of all the different quadrants of life here. I want to talk about community and its importance in your role working with Farm Bureau. I know you and I have talked a lot about things like life insurance. It's something nobody really wants to talk about, right? Because we're talking about me possibly passing away or whatever. Having lost my dad at a young age, I realized the importance of it and how, necessary it is to have that kind of line. But you've told me you've hand delivered those checks to people when they're going through big tragedy. So taking the sports motivation into, which is essentially like a sales type of job. Using that, but also finding a way to keep it focused on people, on community, which I know is real important to you.
Amen. So sales is competitive within certain sales organizations, and we're a very competitive sales organization. So being a hometown boy, I had a lot of help getting in there because my mom and dad were both school teachers, and everybody knew Bill and Edie Sirmon, and everybody trusted and admired Bill and Edie Sirmon. So I got off pretty easy with just being someone that they trusted. Early on, probably my first or second year, I had to deliver a death claim check to a young man who had passed away in a car accident. And I remember walking up to the door and knocking on the door, and I had a $10,000 check. He was probably in his early 20s. And the door opened, and it was his mom, who I knew and talked with my mom. And she started wailing and just ran down, I guess, the hall or whatever, but I could hear her the whole way. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then the father came, and I gave him the check. He was like, thank you. And that stuck in my mind. You talking about with your dad being young, my dad just passed, and the what the planning that I did for him and my mom is takes a lot of pressure off of us, the kids, as far as financially. But I never wanted to be in a situation where somebody passed and the spouse come up to me and go, hey, you know what, why didn't we have any insurance? Because I've had friends that are in the business that's happened to before. That's not a really good position to be in. And so I am a big time advocate for that, and because I've seen what it's done. I delivered a $150,000 death claim check on my uncle to my aunt, changed her life. And it doesn't have to be a huge policy. It's just depending on where you are in life, and if you plan accordingly, you can take care of that. So back to community. Like, I love people. I love people of all walks. I enjoy being around people. I'm a people person, I would say, and I'm also incredibly empathetic, and understand, and can meet people where they are, whether they're, things are going good or things are going bad. That's a gift that God has given me, and I've been very blessed with that, and I've always been like that. I'm the champion of the kid that's getting picked on, or the kid that's needs a friend, or special needs, or whatnot. That's always been a gift that God has given me. I can identify that right off the bat. It's crazy. My wife, is like, how did you figure that out? I was like, I don't know, it just hit me.
And just to interject, that's a conversation I had with your boys was, okay, like, Anderson, you're 6 foot, 220, good looking, well built kid in high school, star football player. I was like, just understand how important it is for someone like you to go make friends with someone that feels kind of like outcast. So like actively looking for those opportunities or those moments is huge, because if you don't quite understand the blessings that you have received, but like how much that matters to say, hey man, come sit with us, or come hang out with us, or whatever. That's like a thing that like I said, if you're blessed with those things, you take them for granted sometimes, but you gotta pay it back, right?
There was a great absolutely, and it was a great Jeff Cavins did a great thing on finding starfish, and basically it was a talk about the starfish on the beach that are beached and that need to be picked up and thrown back in the water.
Interesting.
And that's basically the marginalized. The kids on the periphery or adults on the periphery, and that's something that you don't have to go take them to lunch.
Right.
You just have to recognize them and tell them hello.
Acknowledge that he's there.
Acknowledge that their presence, that they're there. And both my wife and I have had numerous people, and again, this is a blessing. This was something given to me by God. People come up to us and go, Aaron, you guys were, we were at separate schools, but you were one of the only people in high school that I remember that was genuinely nice to me and always talked to me, and that means a lot to those people, to people that are marginalized, and to me too, because man, you never know how you can change somebody's life with a hello and a open a door and how you doing and a smile, and just recognize that they are there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I noticed that a lot when I was teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now, like I get some of these Facebook posts, like your favorite teacher or something, and I get a lot of them for kids that I didn't even teach. And I'm looking back and I'm like, I didn't even teach this kid. But, I'd make it a point if a kid was just kind of wandering the hallways, I'd be like, hey, what's up? What's going on with you? Like your son. I mean, I knew your son, but I didn't even teach him.
Yeah.
I knew Grace and Noah, who I just helped buy a house. I didn't teach them, but I knew them, and you talk to kids regardless of whether you teach them or not, and you just, sometimes it's just like, hey, how's your day going? Or sitting alone at lunch, like, hey, what's up?
Right.
And apparently that can make a huge difference.
It does.
It really does.
That was my kids. That was one of the things. I was like, you find those starfish, and I didn't use starfish at the time, but you find those marginalized people. You look for them. You can see them. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You find them, and you bring them in and make them feel relevant, and you will be blessed the rest of your life if you continue to do that. And that's something that I try to do every day. Try to find those that are marginalized and try to impact them in some kind of small way to and make their day better.
Because I think the fact of the matter is that, like, no matter who you are, you've felt that way before.
Mm-hmm.
In some way, in some situation. You're somewhere where you're like, man, I don't belong here, I don't fit in with this crowd, or whatever, until somebody in the crowd walks up and says, hey man, come on, come with me.
Yeah.
What I want to know about Will is okay, so we talked about the sales aspect, and now we talked about the community aspect. And on the sales side, we've got the trip to, where are we going? Ireland on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've won cars before from sales things.
No, not cars, just trips.
Okay.
But let me say something about that.
Well, just to finish the thought real quick
Sure.
is so there's that on the line. There's the sales, there's the bonus, there's that. And then there's that person that, like, maybe I'm pushing you into the sale a little bit. Or, and I'm thinking the same thing, whether it's hey, you need to sell your house today, or oh no, you really need to sign up for the gym today, or and kind of knowing that, like, okay, we're right on this line of, like, I'm pushing them. Am I more in the sales side right now, or am I more in the community side?
And how do you separate that?
And how do you maintain the integrity? Yeah, that's
yes. So that's a good question. We have all these incentives and everything, but my number one, I don't try to sell anything to anybody. I tell them what they need, and they agree that that's what they want to do, then we find a way to make it happen. And that's really it. I don't have preconceived numbers in my head. I don't know that, where I am as far as I go to work every day. I talk to everybody that I can about their insurance. And if you ever heard that saying, you get what you want when you help others get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very
book. What's that book? Yeah, if you help enough people get what they want, then
you always get what you want, and that works.
Dr. Seuss or something.
Yeah. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
Yeah.
Well, and so that's always kind of been my thing, and including managing people, which, by the way, I have an incredible staff of wonderful people who all get it, and I could not do any of this without all of them.
You gotta have help.
Yes, and good help, and people that are accountable, and that people that are empathetic. We have this thing, and when you walk in my office, because we were getting hammered pretty bad with Ida, it comes from my favorite book, Resisting Happiness.
You gave me that one.
Yes, I took a picture of the cover, and then I put, be kind, everyone's fighting a tough battle. And that was a saying from the book, Resisting Happiness. I think it was Bob Dylan's grandmother used to tell him that.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind, everyone is fighting a tough battle. And I put it in a
That's our mom.
yeah.
Work hard, be kind.
I put it in one of those see-through things, those clear plastic things, and I put one on the side where the client walks in and sees it, and I put one on the other side where the person behind the desk can see it.
Yeah.
So that we remember, be kind.
Idea.
Everybody's dealing with something. So anyway, my people are great, but that to be competitive and to do the incentive stuff and the bonuses and all, you just got to work hard. If you work hard, it's never really been about the money for me. I don't know what's coming in, what's going. It's never been a motivating factor. I never sat down and figured out how much I'm going to make off of this, whatever. It's always been, hey, this is what I think you need. From what you're telling me, this is what I think you need. Is this something? I mean, am I right? And if so, let's find a way to come to a way to solve that problem, because it is a problem if you don't have insurance.
And I think about it makes me draw back to the sports thing, right? I want to win. I'm playing to win.
Yeah.
But I'm not breaking the rules to do it. I'm not, I don't want to cheat.
That's a great analogy.
To win,
Right.
Again, it's like tainted, and
it doesn't mean anything.
If you make that kind of, if you're that sleazy sales guy, like it's like it's dirty money, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Much better to have that balance, right, of those
Amen.
those two things, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah, because that goes back to kind of what you said helped you significantly early on, and I think what, especially in sales, is the trustworthiness, your reputation. Sure, you can cheat, you can get that win, but guess what?
Comes back to bite you.
Now people know.
Yeah.
That's the guy who.
In all my years, I had one guy who said that I was being pushy, and he basically when I confronted him because I knew it wasn't true, and he had told me to call him, and I would call him, and he'd say, no, call me back next week, and I'd call him back next week, and then finally I was just like, look, man, if you don't want to do this, that's fine, but just you're wasting my time. And then I don't know if you got offended by that, but I was just saying, hey, it's okay. It's okay if you're not ready. It's perfectly okay.
Just tell me.
Just tell me, and I'll move along. I'm sure you probably
That's
too.
a classic thing.
Yeah.
Hey, look, just tell me. It won't hurt my feelings.
It's not gonna hurt my feelings. I mean, you know what you need to do. I know what you need to do. When you're ready to do it, then call me. But don't just keep.
Yeah.
And basically we cleared that up.
Well,
and that's the only time.
That's a tough thing. Like, just having finished coaching some flag football, it's that level of like, I gotta push you, but I don't want to push you too much.
Mm-hmm.
But we all perform better when we have someone give us a
Pushing
little
us.
accountability, keeping us on our our P's and Q's,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like sometimes you don't need to be the pusher. You need to be the, hey man, like, we're playing a tough sport. It's okay.
Yeah.
We don't need you to do it. Anyway, so it's like,
Finally.
where do we need to be, and how do we do that with our kids? Like I said, with coaching and business, same kind of thing.
It's an art. Yeah, I think my dad was always good at that. He pushed me enough, but he was always there. Was always at the games. He was always, if I needed help or needed advice, like he was there. But he wasn't always just like, it wasn't like this constant pushing. We talked about some of the dads
Come on,
you've witnessed in this football season. Yeah. It's like,
what are you doing out there?
It's like, come on, and then your kids watching you. They watch everything you do, and what kind of message does that send?
Well, like they say there's people that are passionate, and there's insane right there.
It's
right there, and it's like after every game this year, I went home to my wife and I said, was I okay? Or was I yelling? Did it look like I was yelling too much? Like, I don't know.
But you have to coach.
I'm not sure what side of the line I was on.
Hey, so then there's coaching and then there's yelling.
It's very close as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, cool.
Yeah.
So all right. So we talked a little bit about Will's kind of start into business, the kids, where they are now. But what Brian and I are really interested in is like those parenting life hacks. So William was born a couple months ago. You get to do it all over again. What are you doing again 100% of the time? What would you never do again? And, what are you kind of okay with leaving to?
Okay, so doing it all over again means that things would have to change. Otherwise, I would imagine. So I wouldn't do anything different, right? But the lessons that I've learned.
If you could end up in the same spot.
If I could tell you.
End up in the same spot,
If I could tell you my experience, this is what I would tell you. Number one, don't discipline your child when you're angry at him, because just take a few 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. The only thing that I'm eternally what is that?
Grateful.
Regretful.
Not great, regretful.
Regretful.
That's the other one.
Can't be great if you're not grateful. Regretful is one time when I was mad, lost my cool, and I mean I didn't.
He jumped into the field.
He's still alive, but
He's
he's still breathing. But that haunts me.
Before we go on, you want to
do
place
that.
a bet on which one it was?
I think
No, I'm
everybody,
just
you all know who it is.
I have a good idea.
Love him to death. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he is quite a kid, young man. The second thing that I would tell you is, so the one thing that has turned, so my wife got to live with the maniac and Will Sirmon, right, for quite a long time. And then things started to change, and they started to change because I had my godchild was born with mild tubular myopathy and ended up passing away at 3. But I started, that was kind of my journey, not necessarily back, because we always went to church, but into a deeper dive. And I would go to mass every day and pray to St. Jude, and that's kind of where it started. But man, those first probably 25 years, I don't know how Aaron did it. I was all over the place. And I was more is better, which I'm gonna tell you that it's not. More is more problems. Worst case scenario, Will. If the kids were going somewhere, I'm like, hey, look, just make sure you don't get hit by a train.
Yeah.
It's
It's not even trains out here, Dad.
Yeah. And I'm constantly anxious. I'm constantly nervous. I'm running really hard, and I had happiness in spurts, but never anything that lasted. And but no peace. And so I continued in that cycle for a long time. when all of this went down with Benjamin, I kind of started to go, hey, you know what? When I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm not doing this, and kind of nice. Not to worry all the time, not to be anxious, worry about money, worry about the kids, worry about this.
Had to simplify a little bit.
Yeah, and it's just, and so, then I went to like an Acts retreat. That was amazing. And then we started our Exodus journeys, and that was amazing. But I guess I say all that to say that I look for peace now, because happiness is fleeting. Peace is you can be in this place, and no matter what's going on around you, you're at peace. So it doesn't mean that when you take up your faith journey and you start to dive deeper and all that kind of stuff, that all your problems are going to go away. A lot of times they get worse. But you have peace, and you're able to handle it, and you don't have worry, and you surrender everything to God, and you just say, hey, look, you got this, because it's your plan. It's not mine. I can't handle it.
With peace, it's easier to find happiness, because
Yes.
happiness isn't this eternal
Yes.
state that we find
No.
ourselves in. It's in moments, it's in memories, it's in.
Yes.
But if you don't have peace, then you won't really find it.
But you will have trials and tribulations, and then but I'll tell you, the thing that has made the biggest difference in my life is when I wake up in the morning. I pray before I do anything. Before I look at I don't do social media, so I probably won't see this podcast. But I
lived it.
Yeah, I lived it. So, but just to sit down and like Stephanie y'all probably get ready at the same time in the morning sometimes. Yeah. So sometimes. Anyway.
She's a little bit later than me. So.
Yeah. So, but they, me and Aaron will pray the rosary together, or we'll say, but that first hour that I give to God every day has been a game changer. And again, still having issues, still having problems, still having trials and tribulations, but man, it's like
Doesn't go away, does it?
it doesn't, but it does. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm. My blood pressure has gone down. I mean, all kind of things since I started doing that, because the worry and the anxiety and the stress is there, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. It's like somebody said it before. It's you wake up, you put your armor on.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm going to war every day, whether it's work or the kids or people or my own,
my armor is
things
my
to worry about.
prayer in the morning.
If I don't wake up and armor up, dude, then something's gonna nick me.
Yeah. And I grew up in a family where my mom was devout Catholic and my dad was lukewarm, and my mom always, but until I was a cradle Catholic, but my mom, my dad, we couldn't miss church, but my mom, but that has been that would kind of be the biggest thing that I would tell you. It's just the fact that I've finally realized and how important faith is, and your kids having faith is huge too, because when it keeps them from having despair, which despair, we know what despair with children and teenagers and all leads to.
Yeah.
The hope of having a strong faith and having strong faithful parents, because what's our job, Brandon, as fathers?
Get our family to heaven.
Yep.
It's a little sermon quote right there, everybody.
Yep. And that is our job. And so, you have all these teenagers and things that are having issues, and they get to the point where they have no hope and despair, and it doesn't work out well.
No, we've seen that. I mean,
yeah, many times.
Suicide,
shootings. I mean, that's
all-time high. And
yeah. And so, I would tell you that I would guard against that, specifically against that, because as long as they have faith, they have hope and they have a way, and and that I used to worry about that too, but I don't worry about it anymore. Just when I start to get overwhelmed, I just say, hey, look, it's your plan. You're pulling all the strings, so you handle it.
So to play it back is don't discipline out of anger, but always make sure they have some faith involved in their life. And
and yours, and be a good example, because it is our job as parents, fathers, to get our wives and our children and as many people as we can, because you want to be hanging out with me if I get to go, and I don't want you to be up there and me not be up there. And that would be terrible.
Is that what you tell them?
Yeah.
first maniac in heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so
there's always St. Paul. I can compare myself to and go, wow, man, he was pretty bad.
Another thing that Brian and I always talk about is kind of those stages of life. We had Will, who's trying to find his way into a career, done very well in that regard. Then there's I want to be a great husband. I want to be a good father. We've now got, these kids starting or in the midst of their careers. They've all got somebody that they've been with for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on that next step of like,
where
my babies are somebody else's baby now, right? Like they're, and I just a little bit like, what's next for Will? What's on the horizon? How old are you? Work-wise, like how many years do we have left there? Are we talking retirement, settling into that next phase of life? Watching the kids grow up, get married, all that.
All right, so it's very exciting that that my children are doing really well. I will give you another piece of advice: is make sure you and your wife are not friends, but you're partners. In other words, you start going different ways, and you make sure you have date nights and all that stuff. Because the first time we had an empty nest, which we've probably had it about 4 times since 2020.
They keep coming
and
back.
They keep coming back. Yeah, and which is great. I mean, I love it. We love having the kids home. It's fast paced, but man, me and Aaron were like, oh wow, this is crazy. I was getting to places on time. Because I didn't walk out the door and say, hey, Dad, look, I need you to sign my report card. Hey, Dad, can you give me this? And so it was awesome. So my wife and I have maintained a really good relationship through everything, to where we say the same things at the same time. I mean, we have always, and I thank Farm Bureau for that too, because it's given us opportunities to get away, just her and I. But that is something that's paramount, and we've tried it before, like in the 3 different other times we had empty nest. It was like, man, smooth as could be. We enjoy the same things. We do the same things. We like the same things. We have the same goals, which you're talking about retirement, which is I'm looking at 5 years. Erin will has this year being her first of 5. That's kind of the plan. We would like to have some sort of presence in Ethel.
Schaffner?
Yeah.
You going back to school?
No. 3rd grade. That was the best 3 years of my life.
All right.
So Brett Favre told that to my son one time. That's funny. Anderson. No, Ethel. Aaron has a family farm, and that's kind of where we're gonna set up headquarters.
Oh, I love that.
Because I don't think my children are going to come back to live in this community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous about that, because, through the Acts and all our church group is so active, and like they said, I used to go to church and go, hey, how you doing? Now I'm like, hey man, what's going on? How's your kids? Blah blah.
Yeah.
And I know that I'll miss that.
That community.
Yeah, I will miss that community, and I'm sure that I can find it elsewhere, but. Man, we have such a good thing going here. So retirement, go there, and then I guess via Grandpa. I think we figured out our grandma and grandpa names last night, actually at dinner. Yeah. It's going to be Maniac and Sugar.
Sugar.
Maniac and Sugar. I want to hear a 2-year-old pronounce Maniac.
That's a multi.
You're going to be Manny?
Man.
Yak.
And I had guys and teammates of mine that would call me Yak. Clarence Glenn would call me Yak.
That might be what it
was. So a couple of these other things
Hold on,
want to hit on?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay. And so that's kind of I want to be where my kids are. My kids bring me more joy than anything put together. I mean, I have great friends and great friendships, but it all pales in comparison to being with my kids.
It's I'm helping teach a confirmation class, and it's so difficult, and this is a big reason why we have you here. Is just like I'm trying to explain to these kids that like just how life changes when you have kids. You understand, like we talked about the other day. It's like, you know, you can view like, you know, God as like your father. It's real easy because we've all been someone's kid. But until you're someone's dad, you don't quite understand the son relationship. Like, you know, involved in that, and it's like it's these perspectives that you can't gain until you get there. But again, I think that's a beautiful thing, and that's why we have Will here today. But we have just a few minutes left. I want to kind of get to some fun stuff
Rapid
here.
fire?
Some rapid fire stuff. I want you to. We're going to keep them short.
Okay.
Yep, off the cuff.
Professionally,
No preparation.
like if you could contribute your professional success to really one thing, like what are we thinking?
So in terms of non-spiritual, it would be my unrelenting passion and persistence.
Okay.
And failure to and empathy. From the spiritual side, I mean it's all, you know, it's all
So
about.
kind of like empathetic persistence, right?
Yeah, because I mean you really got it. You got to understand where these
Term.
people are coming from, and meet them where they are, and then try to help them. You know, servant leadership is kind of a dual, both spiritual and mental and work and other things, and that's what I try to be, a servant leader, and just be empathetic, meet people where they are, and then give all.
Back to that parenting and coaching, and you know, these young kids, man, it's like, I see you doing this way. I've done this before. I love you. If you did it this way, it'd be way easier. And they just no. And but you as a parent, you have to stay persistent with it, and you have to stay on them. And then one day they go, you were right, man.
So I'll tell you this too, real quick. Same team.
Yep.
There were so many times that I looked at my kids and I'm like, we're on the same team.
Right.
I am trying to help you because I did it. Well, you didn't do it that way. Exactly. I did it wrong many times. And I'm telling you, it's not going to work.
I know.
I know.
From experience.
Firsthand. And then Anderson will go, yeah, okay, and he'll go do it.
It's a very sad day. It's the day of Will Sirmon's funeral. Someone stands up at the podium and they say, Will Sirmon, man, if there's one thing I could say about Will Sirmon, it was
faithful disciple and beloved husband, father, son, brother, friend.
so like we said, like nobody said anything about, man, he had all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
Or he had all this money or whatever. Nobody, that wasn't in there. That's strange.
Yeah. Faithful disciple and beloved father, son, brother.
Yeah.
You know, friend.
I know we talked about it kind of already. I feel like I know this answer. If there's one book you tell anybody to read, what's the book?
Resisting Happiness.
Yep.
Read it. Resisting Happiness. It'll change your life.
He's probably handed out thousands of that same book to many people.
Yes. And if you need a copy, I have one.
Favorite athlete of all time?
Man, you know, I was thinking back, there's different phases in your life, right? Because, you know, like when I was a little kid, my uncle used to beat me up if I didn't say Jimmy Taylor. And then, you know, and this is...
Who's
so,
right at the front of your mind?
So the first person that hit me in mind, he wasn't my favorite athlete, but he's probably the one that I just was blown away by was Bo Jackson. And now I also played against Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders, not against, but on the same, you know, they were offense, I was offense. But and I got to watch all those guys play, Brett Favre and all that kind of stuff. Wow. Derek Thomas, Keith McCants, Bobby Humphreys, but man, Bo was just he was a freak. He he could run at you, he could run around you, he could run over you. I mean, he was just something to watch. And he came down the sidelines one time, and I remember thinking to myself, you have to be an idiot to try to tackle this man. There's no way I would get in front of that freight train.
Yeah.
And but I will tell you this, and this is my favorite athlete all the time, a guy that I love and respect, and has been a close dear friend of mine, and will hopefully get into the Hall of Fame next year or soon, is Brian Mitchell. I watched Brian Mitchell come in as a freshman with a little bit of an attitude. He always had that swagger, and then turn into a tremendous leader, both in deed and word. You know, he used to, when we were in practice, we'd be running, you know, just plays and not even against the defense or whatever. And every time he kept the ball or whatever, he ran it to the end zone. It don't matter if we were on the 20, on the 40, or the 10. He ran it all the way to the end zone, turned around, ran all the way back, and threw the ball. I was like, that dude's serious. Because he wanted to be.
He got plans on making it
to
to the end zone.
He wanted to train in his brain that he was going to go to the end zone every single play.
That's interesting.
But just he has been a dear friend. Anderson stayed with him when he worked for Steve Scalise for like 2 weeks. I've stayed at his house before. We've gone on places together. He came to watch Anderson play at
I've met him a few
Comets.
times.
Come play golf with me the other day. He's just a dear friend, and I have never ever seen him tell somebody no for an autograph, or anybody that came up and talked to him and wanted an autograph or just want to talk to him not give them his complete attention. No, on the phone, nothing. Just it's all about them.
Yeah.
And that is a
That's
true
pretty rare.
gift. Yeah. He's a good man.
Yeah, I remember reading the other day. They were talking about Bo Jackson, and they said the injury to his hip is actually something that shouldn't be physically human possible, but he was able to generate like enough force with his legs, with like his stride, that like it tore off the bone, like, which they're saying, like, if you calculate the physics of like that, like it shouldn't be possible. He was so strong. Like that like that's what
I don't
happened.
know that there's ever been an injury like that by anybody else ever again. I mean, you watch him run up that outfield wall.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do that.
Snapping bats over his leg, like it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the last one is just what's either a quote or the parting wisdom.
So
to kind of.
Yeah, I like my motto with work is Faith, Family, and Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau is a unique organization. We start every single meeting with the pledge and a prayer, which that is something that has died out and is pretty much done. The golden rule has always been big because, love God and love your neighbors yourself. I mean, come on, man. Just look at that. And, you're either going this way or you're going that way. You're either going closer to God or you're going further from God. Every decision you make, and you can figure it out. We all have consciences. Faith, Family, and Farm Bureau. But, I think something that a lot of people get caught up into themselves and to life and what's going on. And I think let go and let God would give everybody a lot of grace to be able to go, okay, yeah, you know what? It's not going to do me any good to worry about this. I'm just going to let go and I'm going to let God take it. And it'll give you a lot of peace, which finding peace is so much better than happiness. I will tell you that firsthand.
Control what you can control.
Yep. Find your peace. Slow down to the speed of God. That's a new book by Matthew Kelly.
Can't wait
Yeah,
for it to show up
me
in
and
my
him
mailbox.
are like this.
Yeah.
Any last words?
No, man, I really appreciate this. Like, I'm incredibly flattered that you guys even thought about me. Seriously. And, I've been thinking about it since you asked me, and I wanted to make sure that I did a good job, and I wanted to try to allow us to attract and other people and to kind of mission
Sure.
you know, impact
Mm-hmm.
people. I was hoping that this would be a good
Yeah,
way
well,
to do
well,
that.
the
you know?
bottom line here is community. I knew Brian grew up here. You grew up in Lulen. I'm from Metairie. Moved out here. Didn't know anyone, and then you start just meeting people.
Yeah.
And
We all love people.
yeah,
I mean, we're all in people loving businesses. I mean, you know, we're all dealing with a lot of people, and you know.
but within your community, there's someone that can help you in every aspect of your life if you just get out there and meet people and put yourself out there. You know, and don't kind of stay closed up. So I found that to be just such an integral part of my life is finding the people out there. Because we can all help each other.
Finding good people too, because you know you are who you hang out with.
Yeah, and I think the more stories we have, the more people like we have, you know, on this show, I think the better. And maybe you heard something today you resonate with, or maybe there's another guest. If any of you want to nominate a guest to have on the show, we'd love to hear from them and hear their stories. And we thank you very much for being here.
Man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm flattered. Love you guys.
You man.
All right.
See you later.
See you next time.
That went incredibly smooth.
It was good. Oh, I forgot.